Here we go, the first race to the chase is green. The outside line, Inga Miller already jumping up there in the 6 car. Aisha DeVore started 3rd. Now looking to the inside for the lead in turn 1. Pole sitter Josh Wilkinson on the outside line. Trent Garner, Brennan Wolkowitz, Kyle McCormick lead that inside line right there. A lot of good cars. As far as the practice session was concerned, it's going to be interesting to see how this thing plays out. Wolkowitz with the run on the inside with Kyle McCormick running right there behind them, and they're going to go 3 wide for the lead in turn 3. For 30 laps, these guys know that it's a short race. They got to get going as fast as possible and try and make as many positions up as quickly as they can. In case we get a wreck fest out of this, they'll have enough time, and don't have enough time under green to make some passes. Wolkowitz will lead lap 1. He'll get a little bit of a gap on the rest of the field. That's Joe Tanner in the 1, and the 37 of Savannah of Tap move up into 2nd and 3rd here on the inside line. Got a little bit of a separation there in the pack with these guys and the way they're running. And, that's a trouble turn 3. It's the 50 of Steve Broom and the 4 of Bridget Yardaliza. And the first caution of the day here at lap number 2. All got started down there before they even got to the turn. Let's take a look. Watch the outside of that blue car. You can just barely see the roof. There's the move, yeah. Got into the 31 of Courtney Walker, and Walker gets into the 4 car of Yardaliza and turns her around, and Michelle Dilbeck in the 17 turns Steve Broom around. 7 car of Josh Snyder just misses it. Tyler Attell right there. Not so lucky, yeah. Ben Smith, one of the chase contenders, just missed that wreck in the 33. That was close, yeah, that could have been disastrous for his chase efforts right there in the 33 car. Relatively small crash, but then again it was at the tail end of the field. So we are under caution for the first time today for a 4-car incident in turn 3. Cars getting ready to line up for the restart. Brendan Wolkowitz leads them to the green. Joe Tanner in the 1, and then the 37 of Savannah of Tap, Michelle Mossler, and the 6 of Inga Miller as we go green. Back down to turn number 1. Tanner to the inside looking for the lead. Here comes the 27 of Michelle Mossler, who was an early victim at Riki Superspeedway in a crash, and then got caught up in a second incident there. Having a good run so far here at Daytona. Look at the 93 of Zach Maloney and the 12 of Kirby Amons working together a little bit further back on that inside line, making a charge to the front. And I really do think that we're going to see this 2-car tandem deal kind of be a little bit more amplified. We've already seen it a couple of times in the practice sessions. It's going to be interesting to see. It's mainly going to be amongst the lead cars, and maybe some guys a little bit further back in the pack that are going to make big moves to the front. I mean, as you see right here, the 27 right there lined up behind the 1, you'll see these two are going to pull away once they close that gap between them. Off of turn 2, and they indeed close that gap, and now they're going to pull away from the field there for a moment. And of course, with the rest of the field being 3 wide back here behind them, that's going to help that even more. And you see right there, look how far ahead they've been able to get. But they can't stay that way forever. They either have to swap positions to stay ahead of the field, or they'll just continue running that way. The second car will begin to overheat because they're not getting any air into the grill, and the field closes back in. As you see, the 9 close that gap on those guys. Aisha DeVore in the 9, the 66 Pam Stanley. They're going to go to the inside. Looks like DeVore's going to be by herself there for a moment. And once they get up there, they're going to break those 2 up, and then that's when we'll have to see another group pair up. Although when they are on the outside like that, they don't really get a big run, at least as big of a run as some of the cars down there on the inside line. Tanner, however, continues to lead. Second place has changed hands. It's now Aisha DeVore and almost about 3 other cars as they're 3 wide once again. A lot of pretty good runs going right now for some of these guys that have been struggling as of late, including the one Joe Tanner had a couple of crashes like Mosler did last week. Coming back this week, having a good run right now, leading this thing, having a good race out front. This 4 wide through the corner. You know, we were talking about the 2-car tandems. We haven't really seen much of it. Trouble, turn 4. Alexi Magos, the 99, and Pam Stanley in the 66, and more carnage in the trioval. Caution is out. Second caution of the day. The damage to the 48 and several others. Let's take a look. Here, it's Pam Stanley in the 66. I think we're gonna see here in a moment. We're gonna see. Okay, watch the outside. 27 Michelle Mosler tries to avoid Casey Blanford's 32, hitting the wall. Comes down into the 66, sending the 66 of Stanley down into the 99 of Magos. Around they both go. TJ Howard, the 34, just missing the 99, as well as Brennan Workowitz. Howard, a chase contender, as well as Magos. So Magos, this could be big for her chase hopes in trying to win the championship. And the same for that car right there. That's Zach Maloney in the 93. Boy, Hunter Richardson in that 30 car just missed that wreck, especially another car, chase contender Ben Smith, missing this wreck as well. A lot closer this time than it was the first wreck. Jay Fluke in the 10, as well as Josh Wilkinson getting some damage. Josh Snyder in the 7 as well. See it already happening right there, and right there, that's 2 hard hits for that 99 team. Not nearly as bad as the wreck that Chris Seckinger had, and then this happened further down the track. Maloney's slow car getting rear-ended by the 48 of Kimberly Ward. Getting ready for the green flag here. Joe Tanner in the 1. Still the leader here at Daytona. We're back underway. Got that 26 of Nate Alcock right there running second. The 11 of Kenny Turner in third, and then Lisa Honker, and then the rest of the field. Down the back straightaway, and it's where a lot of these cars are going to fan out from that single file line that we had going through turn 1. 3 wide as the Shields and the 83 to the inside, Elisa Hawker and Kenny Turner, as another pair up front, Joe Tanner and this time the 26 of Nate Alcock go to the front. In all likelihood, if they can pair up just enough, they should be able to pull away a little bit from the field. It's Katie Genders in the 71 right there in line behind, and then the 83 of the Shields on the outside and not getting anywhere in that outside line. And Valerie Cabanilla in the 14 now making her way through the front of the field. And the question is, when will we see that next wreck, and, how many cars will it involve, especially with this being the first race of the chase. A lot of guys in that last wreck were involved. You had Lexi Magos and Zach Maloney, chase contenders, being taken out in that last wreck. Who's next? And we've seen Ben Smith dodge 2 or 3 wrecks, or 2 wrecks so far, so just barely missed that last one too. Katie Genders in the 71. And Valerie Cabanilla looking to the inside. Cabanilla is going to go even lower than the 71. 3 wide for a moment. But she'll fall back in line behind Genders, and now pushing the 71 to the lead they go off of turn 4. And they're 4 wide back in the pack again. Yeah, you see right there the 87 going below the yellow line. They may need to review that because like Talladega, you cannot pass below the yellow line. He's down there again coming out of the travel. I think that time, I think he's got a problem with the car, or if he doesn't, then he's just getting out of the way, it looks like. Back up front, Valerie Cabanilla in the 11, and the, well, I was going to say the 11, Kenny Turner, was going to go with Valerie, but instead goes with Inga Miller. And their pair goes from being the middle of the pack to the lead in one pass. Now Turner up to the outside line and Inga Miller to the inside. Drag race at the line. Turner leads the lap. And Marissa DeShields is going to go down to the inside now and make it 3 wide again. Miller in the middle with no help. For now anyway, until the 14 of Cabanilla got there behind her. Kenny Turner is the real loser in that deal, as he'll go way back. DeShields now out front. Now it's Courtney Walker making a move to the inside of Trent Varner. They're going to be 3 wide again going into turn 3. And Walker with help from Jansen Ford in the number 60 coming to the front. And that 60 car, I tell you, ever since they switched to Ford, they started the season with Toyota. They switched about halfway through the season, or well, I'd say about halfway to the chase would be a better bet. But they started the season with Toyota, didn't really have that many good finishes. Came back with Ford, started off kinda alright, but kinda struggled in recent weeks. Good to see them up front. Savannah of Tap now to the front with as the points leader coming into this race, but he won't be there long as Lisa Hawker goes to the front. She got a big push down the back straightaway by Philip Martin there in the 49, but that ain't going to help him much as it would help Lisa. Lisa's going to go to the front, perhaps lead this lap, as teammate Chris Seckinger gets up to second. And again, we have a new leader. Ever since they got by Joe Tanner there for the lead, we've had some 5 different leaders in the past 5 laps already. Terry Palmer, could he become the 6th different leader as he goes to the front? And look at this, these guys are 3 wide, about 10 rows deep now. I mean, that's like the entire top 30 right now, all running 3 wide like that. Down to 10 laps to go, going to be 9 when they come back around. Hunter Richardson to the lead with help from Lewis Black in the 13. We've seen those guys kind of work together in a few of these other races. It's interesting to see how those two will work together later in the race. They may become a factor here in one of these before long. Black now in the 13 car out front with help from John Williams in the 88. One thing I've noticed, nobody's been able to really push too far ahead, and I think the reason why is because anybody that's been up there either doesn't have a car strong enough to stay there, or they've heated their cars up so much in the draft that they don't really have a lot of time to cool them off enough to really push way ahead. 3 wide for the lead back through the tri-oval. It's John Williams at the line, then Lewis Black, and now Joe Tanner back up front in the inside line with help from Valerie Cabanilla. Riding with Chris Seckinger here in the 55, and you see he's at the back of this pack right now. Valerie Cabanilla up in the 14 car running second, pushing that 1 car out in front. About that close quarters racing right there, and they're almost 4 wide, gonna be 4 wide when they get down here into turn 3. John Williams, the 88. Looks like Nate Alcock in the 26. This guy's got real close over there. Back to the line. Tanner back out front. His car is probably the strongest car in this race right now, and I think if he can stay up there, he'll probably wind up winning this race. depending on how this thing plays out. Wolkowitz in the 16 back up front. Yeah, and that's the other lap leader that we've seen a lot of laps led by this race. Remember, Brennan won here in the first trip here, although due to the rainout that ended the second half of the race. That race ended due to the heavy rains that we had here last trip to Daytona. Courtney Walker making a move. Whoa, back of the pack. Hunter Richardson just about wrecked off of turn 4. And just about took 3 or 4 other cars with him. That was an amazing save right there. But back up front, see those 2 cars starting to break away from the field again. It's been interesting, you know, we talked about the 16 and the 1 being, you know, probably 2 of the strongest cars this week as far as practice and stuff is concerned. The 55 car was the fastest car in practice, Chris Seckinger. If he was to come back up here to the front, he might have a shot at this, but he's got a long way to go. It's that blue and white car, that second blue and white car down on the inside line. Tanner to the inside, and Wolkowitz having to cool the car off. Goes to the outside as Cabanilla and Terry Palmer coming back to the inside line. And while Tanner's up here by himself, he's not really got a partner or a drafting partner there. Those 2 behind them, 28 and the 14, they're coming. 4 laps to go this time by. We're starting to see a little bit more 3 and 4 wide racing, and we're seeing that intensity level start to pick up just a little bit. It's going to be interesting. Just to update, it looks like the 30 of Hunter Richardson has hooked up with Lewis Black in the 13. They were hooked up earlier in the race when Richardson led a lap. Could they make their way to the front? Let's take a look at that coming up off of turn 4. You see Nate Alcock up there in the wall. 30 just gets into him right there. That gets his car out of shape, and he comes across the track, and man, John Williams also had to make an evasive action up in front of him. Watch this. Yikes. And that right there, had the 49 been a little bit, you know, closer to that whole, to the whole start of that thing, instead of being completely clear of that 30 car, that could have been another big wreck off of the turn. Collecting at least 2 or 3 cars, but see, he had plenty of room to get down to the inside, not be hit by the 49. Back off of turn 4 for the lead draft, coming down to just a handful of laps to go. Battle for the lead. Tanner with a push up to the outside line, and it's Irvin Jacklin to the inside line, and Mary Capizzello in the 00 looking for the lead. Here comes Cap's teammate Chris Seckinger in that 55 car. We talked about him potentially getting back up there. Here he is, right there on the inside line. Does he help Capizzello and his teammate, or does he go for the win himself? Well, he's got the 37 stuck up his back bumper there. That car is going to the front. Jacklin up to the outside with no help, and now Chris Seckinger coming to 2 laps to go this time by, is going to be the leader. Who gets to the 55 next? Yeah, well, based on what we've seen, as long as, I mean, right now you see the 55's got a little bit of a lead on the rest of the field. If somebody can pair up quick enough and get, you know, closed in, they might have a shot at him. Maybe the 11 of Kenny Turner can push Trent Varner in 23 up to the front, but right now they've got to get hooked up nose to tail if they're going to do it. Turner up the middle now, Casey Blanford in the 32 to the inside looking for 3rd. 1 lap to go this time by, and the driver who went upside down in a vicious crash last week leads at the white flag. Trent Varner right there in the 23 car. He's got the opportunity. He just has to get somebody on his back bumper to push him up there if he's going to have a shot. John Williams could be that driver if he can get there. I don't know if he's going to do it. And right up until turn 2, the 13 and the 30 had drafted up there to the front of the pack too. Williams looks to the inside of Trent Varner, can't quite get the room. But can he give Trent the push off the final corner? Here they come. For the final time, off of turn 4, Williams looks to the inside of Varner, but they're not going to get to Chris Seckinger, who will win his first race in the Facebook 500 Series. After being in a vicious crash at Riki Superspeedway just on Monday, he wins here at Daytona. Talk about a turnaround week for that 55 team. That is unbelievable. Highest chase finisher in the field, the 23 of Trent Varner, after finishing second. Chris Seckinger will go to victory lane for the first time this season, scoring what many would probably say the upset of the season, as he's the winner of the first chase race and the first non-chase driver to win this season here at Daytona.